Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome on back to my channel. So I am here with another lock video, and before I get started, this is basically going to be a video about if you are thinking about locking your hair, or you are like somewhere in the beginning phases of the journey, or if you just want to come on and hear me talk about my experiences with my sister locks. So, if you are new to this channel, welcome, and if you're oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashley. I have a doctorate in pharmacy, and I love makeup. So that's why you get Dr. Ash and her makeup. And throughout my Sister Loc journey, I have decided to document it here on my channel, since I already had a channel that basically focused on makeup. I was like, hey, I have like a serious, change with my hair. Let me go ahead and document it. Not to mention, I have soft, fine, thin, low density hair, and there's just not a lot of us here on the YouTube, that have thin, fine, low density hair. But like I say now, I feel like, yes, it's still soft. Yes, it's still thin in some regards, but it doesn't really give low density. And of course, it's not as dense as some people's locks are, but mine are doing great, and I'm very happy with my progress. So please just call me Ash or Ashley. And like I said, I hope you're here and you stay here for the locks, and I hope you join me for the makeup as well. So I just wanted to touch on like a lot of different topics, or just some topics regarding, getting your hair locked, deciding to lock your hair. And I'm going to talk about some of my personal experiences. Do I know everything? No, but hopefully this is helpful. Okay, so why did I decide to lock my hair? I decided to lock my hair because, and I have a whole, before I jump in, I have a whole Sister Locs playlist. So I even do an introduction video as to why I did this. But I decided to lock my hair because I was not confident in my hair any longer. I wanted to partake in hairstyles. I wanted to have flexibility. I wanted my hair to look nice. I wanted to not worry if I was going on vacation. I wanted to not worry if I was going to a nice event. I wanted to feel confident. I wanted to feel beautiful. And sometimes I felt like my fine, thin hair would prevent me from feeling that way. I always had to kind of plan ahead. If I was going on a vacation, how was I going to wear my hair? Was I going to get some type of braids? And I used to opt for a single lace twist. I really do like the single lace twist, but because my hair was thin and fine and low density, I couldn't keep the braids in for very long because, of course, it would ruin my hair. If I did any type of, sew-ins, that would damage my hair. Even when I elevated from the college sew-in, and we had the net, and the hair was actually just actually sewn onto the net and properly installed, and would hold up basically on anybody else's hair, it just was not for me. So hair was really fine. I didn't like it. I didn't really want to wear it short. I never had a problem with my hair growing, but the longer it grew, the thinner it would look. It would just get like really ratty to a certain point, and then I would get upset and I would cut my hair again. I'm natural by default, as I would normally say. I have had a relaxer in the past when I was in high school, and my hair was really thick then. But due to the hair texture and me having some autoimmune issues like the fibromyalgia and the lupus, it is just kind of thinned out over time. And usually if your hair is looking thinner, then it gives you an appearance that you're older than what you are. Also, not to mention, I have done so many hair vitamins in the past. I have even done like using monostat in my hair to help, because they were saying that monostat is an antifungal. If you don't believe me, it was like a whole YouTube community using this. This is prior to my YouTube days. So I was using hair affinity. I was using what are the daughters' names? They had some hair, skin, and nail vitamin that was actually liquid based. That was pretty helpful. the monostat, like I said, now that is an antifungal. So the premise was if you remove the fungus that's trapping the hair growth, and it did help. It did help thicken it up in some regards, but nothing has done anything for me like my Sister Locs. That's why I said this is the best decision I have ever made. I have so much versatility. I get so many questions now on my hair, even just like at work, young girls, older women, middle-aged women. It's like everybody, the gamut, men compliment. I feel confident I can do whatever style pretty much I choose to. This is just right now, like basically this was a wash and air dry. It is 2 weeks old. I do get a retie on today's Monday. I get one on Wednesday, and it's been about maybe 7.5 weeks. I usually go every 6 weeks, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I wash it, I just let it air dry. It does seem like it's a little bit more drawn up right now because, like I said, I need the retie, and it's getting a little dirty, and my locks tend to kind of shrivel up and dirty. So I decided it's 2020. I was on Instagram looking and on the about page or suggested page, and all these women were coming up with lock styles, and then I had micro locks, and I also had Sister Locs. And then there was another style called Brazilian knots. And there was only one girl that did these Brazilian knots. I felt like she used to live in Florida, but now she lives in the DMV area. And I was just like, I can't find anybody who lives in the Chicago area that can execute these Brazilian knots and make it look good. I cannot fly back and forth and get my hair done, okay? It's not really an option for me. So I asked a couple of friends that were locked. I said, what do you think? I asked my cousins. I was like, what do you think of me having Sister Locs? They were like, oh, I think it would look like when you have your single-leaf twists, but your hair. Boom. That was the answer I was looking for. So I found my loctician. I found her on Instagram, and she is here in Chicago area, and she's actually very close and lives basically in my neighborhood, or not lives in my neighborhood, but works in my neighborhood. So that is great. I found her through another influencer named Lock Me Up Sis. She is actually, I think she combined her Sister Locs, but she does a lot of Sister Loc or a lot of lock content, and I found her and she had fine hair. So I was just like, okay, that's working. I looked on YouTube trying to look for anybody who has fine hair. I know Nicole Lock Queen, she has finer hair, but I found her after I decided to lock my hair. And I was just like, okay, I think like I can work this style. For me, anytime I have changed my hair, I've just always kind of taken the attitude like, oh, it'll grow back. Or if I don't like it, I'll cut it. So it was 2020, November 20th, 2020 is my official lock anniversary. So I'm coming up on 3 years because it is May 8th, 2023. And locking my hair, of course, it was great. It was a little scary, nerve-wracking. Is this going to look good? And like I said, I was like, well, it's 2020. We're not going anywhere. So if it's not like what I want it to be, I'll just cut it off and we'll start fresh. So like I mentioned before, I have the thin, fine hair. My loctician, basically, she has a lot of clients that have my particular hair type. And she said basically in a Facebook group that a lot of people had mentioned her for having this particular hair type, that it would be good to go to this particular loctician. So if you're deciding to lock your hair, or especially if you want to do Sister Locs, I feel like you should definitely get, you should definitely get somebody who is a Sister Loc consultant, somebody who is trained, because this is an investment. I feel like for me at this point, people are like, oh, are you going to cut it off? I'm like, no, right now, no, that I have not crossed that bridge. I know some women who were like, oh, I used to have some Sister Locs back in the day, but I decided to go a different route. But for me personally, I do not plan on cutting my hair off. I'll get a trim as need be, but right now this is the best I have felt about my hair in a long time. I can do ponytails, I can do my curls, and you guys have seen some of the tutorials. I need to do like an updated tutorial now that my hair is longer, with like doing the rollers, and I can do my top knots, and I can just do basically anything I want to do, and I feel confident. And I was in a friend's wedding, and it was in Miami, and this was after being, I wasn't even 2 years locked. I was like a year and 8 months in, and it looked great through the wedding in July in Miami at 6 p.m. where it was still like 90 something degrees and we were outside. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank God. And my friend Nicole, that's really close with me, she was like, girl, I'm gonna have to get a sew-in because I got natural hair. Like, this ain't gonna work. And I was like, I know. And so, and I've been there before, and these are very real things that I've had to deal with, like getting a sew-in, trying to wear a wig, or, you know, just to look presentable, or have you feel confident, feel like, yes, like, you know, have your pizzazz going with your hair. And a lot of these things can just, you know, like, yeah, it's only hair, but at the same time, you know, as a Black woman, it's something that we're synonymous with. Like, we love our hair and we want to be confident. Any woman basically wants to be confident in their hair. So I chose the Sister Locs for me because I have the fine hair. I did not think that any type of traditional locks would look great on me. I had a friend that has traditional locks. I was like, girl, I have 3 locks. Not the way this hair was situated, okay? I'll have 3 locks. And then for me, the Sister Locs, it provided a lot of flexibility. Also kind of looked like my natural hair. Like some of the frizziness here, it doesn't really bother me because I used to wear my hair a lot of times, you know, not curly. So I'm used to that. And I just have a lot of flexibility. So I've just really been enjoying it, and I felt like that's why Sister Locs was the best route for me to go versus maybe micro locks. And just something, my hair, I felt like it needed something uniform and something just consistent in order to get it to where it needed to be. Now, definitely you want to choose somebody who is a Sister Loc consultant. Because Sister Locs, it is a process. You don't want to be out here with a grid that's like not right. You don't want to have compromised locks. You don't want to have holes in your locks. And you want to pick somebody who can deal with your hair type. Also, you want to pick somebody who can be somewhat flexible with your schedule, who is not just like jam-packing customers in, because it is a high demand business now, because a lot of people are deciding to lock their hair because of the flexibility. In addition, this is a journey. So you want somebody who you're going to feel comfortable with, like the stages of your hair, because I'm here to say, like, when I like my hair, it wasn't all the time I was very confident. It was like some days I'm like, yeah, and then some days I'm like, ooh, it's looking real thin. And I have several videos like of each day. I have a video when I first locked my hair. I have a video a couple weeks, maybe a month later, and that video gets a lot of plays. I have like a 3-4 month update, a 6-month update, a 8-month. I started doing two month intervals, and then, you know, 1 year. And 1 year is basically when I definitely saw the change. I would see the changes for sure, and by me having a YouTube channel, I can go back and look at older videos and be like, whoa, because I'm doing makeup on a daily basis. And then that's also, I encourage people to do that too, because it's like, if I don't put out a lot of videos, you can still see what my hair is looking like in between time, because I'm posting content pretty regularly here on this channel. Now, another thing that comes up a lot of times when people are like, oh my God, I love your locks. And I get this question from like any woman on the street. I literally just had this with a lady who worked in the hospital. My grandmother was in the hospital, and we were downstate Illinois, and she was like, your hair is beautiful. And I was just sitting there like this. I wasn't even thinking about anything. And her hair was beautiful. She had this really pretty, bright cobalt / navy blue hair, and she had some grays in the front, and it was really pretty. And she had like a little top knot with the back down, and she was like, I love your locks. And I was like, I love your hair. That color is beautiful on you. And she was like, oh my gosh, you know, they cost like $1,000. So yes, my install did cost $1,000. Okay. Do I feel like it's too much? No. In addition, I've never been one to really spend money on my hair consistently, because like I said, it was very soft, very fine. I would just do the wash and goes. Maybe twice a year, I'll get my hair colored, something special. Maybe I'll get some single-leaf twists like later on in life, but I've never have been like, oh, I'm going to the shop every 2 weeks, or I'm getting my hair done every 3 weeks, or switching up styles, ponytail, this, that, and the third. That's never been me. So this is something for me that I was like, okay, now I will be doing something with my hair consistently every 6 weeks for my retie, and the install was $1,000. Why was my install $1,000? Well, it did take 2.5 days to install my hair. So I feel like that was fair. My hair was on the longer side. It also, when she did the consultation, you know, my hair was like to here, and she told me up front, and I paid the deposit, and then at the rest, what's the name? So it just kind of depends on your loctician. My loctician took a credit card, where, you know, she had the little, you know, the Apple Pay, or like the Square or whatever. So I just paid on my credit card, and I just paid it off. So for me, that was flexible, because now I'm not thinking about it. But I think in our everyday life, we get so caught up, and we want somebody to be doing well, give you skills, give you great locks, protect your hair, you know, have your grid with integrity. And then we don't want to pay people at the same time. I mean, like, it was 2.5 days, and it wasn't like, oh, 4 hours. It was like 6 hours. We started like at 5 a.m. Like I said, she worked, her salon was closed, so it didn't take me any time to get there. It was 5 a.m. all the way up to like 4. So that's really longer time. And she really didn't take any breaks. I mean, so it was a long, tedious process. It was literally 2.5 days to install my hair because of the length and the texture. So you have to think about that. That's a long time. And then in between that, she's not really doing any other clients, or if she did, you know, you're working all day. So, but the price I'm pretty much hearing across the board is $1,000. So you have to decide if that's in your budget. But then I found a lot of time it's like, we want the Sister Locs, we want to do this, but we getting $80 hairstyle here, we getting a ponytail here, we getting some braids here, we getting this here, we getting that here, and all that money could have been your Sister Locs. Or you going out to eat, or you buying Starbucks every day, you buying a little Uber Eats, and all them fees, everything that we spend money on that we don't even think about is taken away from something that we particularly want. So I get a lot of questions about the cost. Then I also get a lot of questions about, you know, the cost of the retie. The retie now, at this point, she is having us book online, and we make a $50 deposit that goes towards it. And I don't exactly remember the rate per hour. I think it's around 50 per hour. And so usually when I get my hair retied, it's between like $150 to $200 total. So if I paid my $50, you know, deposit, is $150, or it's been a time or two where I paid my $50 deposit, I owe her $100 or $120 based on the time we were there. And a lot of the time it's because of the growth of my hair, okay? So it might not look it now, but I will show you, like, it's off the chain in here, okay? Especially the back. And, you know, I feel like this is something, I get my hair done every 6 weeks. Some people can go longer, but for me, and if you have fine hair, you have curly hair, you have softer hair, you have thinner hair, I feel like you need to put it in your budget to get your hair done maybe every 5 weeks, every 6 weeks, and depending on how fast you're growing. Stretching it out, I would not necessarily recommend, because you will mess up the integrity of your locks. So now you stay here all this time, you want your hair to be long and luscious, but you're messing up the integrity of your locks from not getting them done. I have another mirror here, but if you can see, like, all of this right here where my finger is new growth. So that hair is not in a lock. It's just new growth. So you can mess it up. You can cause your hair to be thinner. I have a lock over here. I was like, ooh, be careful, baby. Because, ooh, like, ugh. And not to mention, you definitely need to be separating your locks. In the beginning, you're like, the hair start growing. You're going to see what I mean real quick. Okay, so if you can see this right here, this is along my edge. So see how this new growth here, and it's a little bit weaker. So you don't want to like snag this, or your lock comes out. You know, now you lost a whole lock around your perimeter or whatever's part of your hair because of waiting to get your hair retied. So you have to be careful with that. You know, I usually go, like I said, every 6 weeks. At one point I was going every 5 weeks. Then I kind of went back to every 6 weeks. I'm sorry, that's a little bit of dry scalp in there. That I do have dry scalp. I have dry skin all over my body. It's just, it is what it is. But you know, as you can see, I have a good amount of hair growth right there, you know. And so you definitely want to make sure that you're taking care of your locks. It's like I said, this is an investment. You want your hair to grow. You want it to look like the girls on the gram. So you need to get your hair done. And I was in the nail shop, and she was like, oh, I don't know, like almost $200 every 6 weeks. So for me, I just work it into my budget. You know what I mean? I budget. I'm a single woman, but I have a good job. I mean, I make a nice wage. You know, in this economy, it's still like, I can use a raise, you know what I mean? But Joe, you can come and knock these student loans out the way, have even more cash. But the point is, like, I think we still spend a lot of money. If this is something for you, then maybe I wouldn't choose Sister Locs. Maybe I would go a more traditional route based off of what your hair type is, because a lot of people that approach me don't always have the same hair type. And I was saying to her, I was like, well, maybe micro locks or something like that, or palm roll traditional rocks might be, that are a little bit smaller, might be better for you, because you, in between time, you can roll, you know, you can do it. Now, other people do their hair and do their own reties. That's not for me. That's not my ministry. I don't have time for that. You know, so that's something you have to consider. But I feel like just trying to stretch out your hairstyles all the time, your reties, just because of money's sake, that could be damaging to your locks. So that is something to think about if you feel like you cannot afford to get your hair retied, and or just talk with your loctician. What is the best thing to do? Ask about that at the consultation, because like I said, it's your hair type. You know what I mean? Like, you know, now at this particular time, you know, you see all this new growth in here, and I have hair in places I haven't had hair before. And my hair is, like I said, it's a little dirty, guys. Sorry. And I was like, more dry scalp is just popping up. But as you see, like at this point, this juncture, I am consistently separating my locks, because they will get stuck together, not because I'm being careless with my hair, but because of the texture of my hair and just like how much it's grown. And so, like I said, I will have to consistently, you know, but look at all this new growth, which is like a great thing. You want your hair to grow, but that's why it's like, okay, you got to make sure you're getting it done, so the integrity of your locks are holding up. Another thing that I had a young girl one time, and I was at work, and I'm a retail pharmacist. I don't think I mentioned that, and she was like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, your hair ain't gonna look like this when it first starts, okay? That's why they say it's a journey, okay? And that's why they say trust the process. You know, for me, it has filled in very, very quickly. It has just defied all odds, but it's still not gonna look like this the moment you get locked. It was thin. I mean, you could see it going in, and it was just like, okay, I see where this is going, but it was still a little thin. It was very scalpy. And then once I watched it the very first time by myself, I was like, oh, well, not by myself. The very first time I watched it was by myself. I was like, oh, okay. And it's literally like one of those things, like the older your hair gets, the better it looks. This one's sticking up because I think this is more of a new lock right here. You know, like I have around 300 and something locks, and it was like 314, 315 when I counted them. I lost one or two, and I've also gained some locks. So what you start off with is not always what you're going to finish with. And like I said, it's a journey. When they say trust the process, you have to trust the process. Like if you want something that's going to be super like fast results, I wouldn't say this is for you, but you would have to calm down. I think like usually when you get to the 6-month mark, you will definitely see like, wow, improvement. And it just all depends on your hair and your hair type. If your hair is thicker, of course, it's going to look thicker a lot sooner. If your hair is finer, it's going to look a little finer. If you start off shorter. Now, one thing I kind of wish I didn't do, and it depends on your hair type and your integrity. I wish I hadn't like recolored my hair right before I locked it. You know, I did. It is what it is. But definitely like my hair was colored and it was weak and it was damaged. So basically the color that you see here now is like the healthy hair that had the color. And it might be a couple places that's not as healthy. But this is, a lot of it has snapped off. So everything that you see that is dark brown is my hair growth that I've had in 3 years. Yeah, or not even close. It'll be 3 years in November. So yeah. So basically about here. We'll say about here. So all of this has grown in 3 years. So I think that is really great, and it's really successful growth. And I think the thickness is really fabulous on it as well. And you'll just see your hair transform. So in the beginning, when you get your hair done, you definitely need to be braiding and banding your hair, meaning like your loctician will tell you to braid it. And this is until your hair locks. Now everybody's hair locks is going to be different because of the texture of your hair. So mine took about a year, and then she was like, okay, you don't have to braid and band. So meaning like when I would go to sleep, I would braid it, and I will put a rubber band at the ends and roll it up. That's to help to keep the locks. When you're washing your hair, you definitely want to do that. I don't have to braid and band when I wash my hair, but I choose to because it makes it easier to separate my locks. It keeps them together. They're not tangled. They're not all over the place, especially if I'm in a state where I am now where I need a retie and there's a lot of new growth going on. So it just kind of keeps it easier for me to work with. As far as maintenance, people are like, oh my gosh, like you sat for 3 days. Yeah, but I do nothing now. Like I went to bed like this and put a bonnet on. Woke up, okay, do like this, and I'm good. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to do anything. So it does, I think it's all, relative how you see it. As far as washing my hair in the beginning, I used to wash it maybe once every maybe like 10 days, 7 days, because my hair is finer and the oils will like kind of seep down, and they give you Sister Loc products to use. So I will have the starter shampoo to use, and then I will actually add in some of the clarifying shampoo that I used right before she installed me because it didn't seem like my hair was getting clean enough. And as my locks matured, now I'm basically like on a 2-week pattern. It has been times where I've stretched it out 3 weeks, and I'm just like, they feel rigid. They don't feel pliable. They feel like stiff, and I feel like they want to snap if the hair is not clean. I find it very easy to, like I said, wash my hair now. This right here was just, a whole just air dry type of situation. And I have kept my locks, if you're wondering, kind of like how my hair was cut. I had some layers in it, and like I said, like I had that colored hair. So some of it, especially in the middle, it definitely kind of like snapped off. And some of them ends just like, because the hair wasn't healthy. And now I'm left with definitely the healthiest hair that I have now growing out my locks. So in addition, I also wanted to kind of talk about the products that I use, which is like nothing. I use water here in the spray bottle to help sometimes with the moisture of my locks, especially in the beginning. And of course, I use the Sister Locs shampoo that was given to me. And I sometimes use a little apple cider vinegar when my scalp is itchy. But now that my locks are more mature, I'm able to use the Sister Locs conditioner, which is really great. I'm also able to use their moisturizing spray, and I'm still using the water and a little apple cider vinegar. So the products for me have been minimal, and then like, especially if I'm traveling, I don't have to take all those conditioners and all those crazy things with me. It's wonderful, okay? So yeah, so like I said, I feel like this has been very beneficial. The upkeep for me has been very minimal. It's just other than just going to get my hair retied every 6 weeks, and maybe like a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours at the most. One time it was 4. She was like, this took me out. I'm like, it basically almost took me out too. But I knew it was I can kind of expect what to expect sometimes know what to expect sometimes when I go and get my hair tied based off of the growth, how long it's been, and what's happened in between. Now, like I said, I'm just kind of at the point where I'm carefree. I'm doing ponytails. I'm being careful still not to put too much tension on your hair because, like I said, it's Sister Locs, and you don't want to have weak, uncompromised locks. You don't want to have too much tension on your locks where they're going to thin out. I did have to have one combined somewhere in here because then it got a little thin. But other than that, like, I feel like this is still one of the best things I could have done for myself, and I'm very pleased with my results. Oh, I do want to also mention, I mentioned this in all my videos, that I do actually take some supplements to help. I drink a lot of water regularly, but I am taking the Nutrafol vitamin, and I've been taking it since maybe 2021. And first couple months, I noticed a little bit difference, but then within the 3-month period, I definitely noticed difference with those particular vitamins helping with my hair growth. So I am using the Nutrafol. You can find it on their website. You can also find it at Sephora. And like I said, if you're thinking about taking a supplement, check with your doctor if you're thinking about taking it. But that has been very helpful for me. So I think at this particular juncture, I've talked about basically everything I wanted to talk about. Let me know if you have any more questions, any more ideas, and I can definitely come back in another video and address them. But I definitely just wanted to kind of talk about like the beginning stages of getting your hair locked. Like, you know, it's not gonna look like the girls on the gram just yet. Like, they've been locked for maybe like 10, 15 years, maybe less, and you just getting started. Like, no, we have to be patient. It sounds like the wackest thing ever. You be like, trust the process, but baby, you need to trust the process, okay? It sounds so cliche, but trust me, trusting the process will get you a lot in life, okay? So with all of that being said, let me know if you have any questions down below, any more topic ideas. I would greatly appreciate that. And subscribe to my channel. And if you are here for the locks, I hope you do decide to subscribe. And if you want to come back when I just have lock videos, I appreciate that. But also you want to pop in and see what my hair is looking like in between time, because like I said, I upload a lot of content on the channel regularly, usually about makeup. I hope you decide to stick around for the makeup, okay? And anytime I close out a video on this channel, I always end with a chair dance. I hope you decide to subscribe to my channel because I would love to have you here in my little makeup / lock family. I hope you give this video a big old thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you know when I come out with another video. If you're interested in more lock videos, I do have a whole Sister Loc playlist that this video will be included in, and I'll leave a link down below. And with all of that said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chair dance. Chair dance. Hey, 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 chair dance. Chair dance. Hey. Chair dance. Hey. All right, y'all. Bye.